and that will be sort of where I get a lot of news. I mean, certainly not a rounded view of things necessarily, because I don't think Twitter's the place for nuance. I don't know if it's a hot new take. But yeah, I feel like I have to see it as like a word, and that's certainly what I use it for.
Intro music. Yes, intro. Bass. Intro. Tiny guitar. There he is. Hello and welcome to No, not the strings, to the strings off. Better. Now, volume down a bit. Good. Okay. Hello. Actually, fuck it. Get rid of it. Welcome to the Unsociable Actor, episode 4. I'm your host, Paul Tonkin, and yes, I am an actor and vegan who is not, drumroll, on social media. Ovs. Anyway, you know this already, so enough of me, and let's just cut to the guest intro. Unsociable actor. So, this week's guest, who's he going to be? I'll tell you. Okay, with that in mind, this week's guest is Alexandra Alex Donnachie. Alex is an award-winning writer-performer. Her plays include 3 Years, 1 Week and a Lemon Drizzle and 28, directed by Jessica Lazar, and the Bruntwood Playwriting Award long-listed Awards When We Died, directed by Andy Routledge. As an actress, Alex has appeared in the BAFTA award-winning Suffragettes with Lucy Worsley. Very nice. She's also appeared in numerous Big Finish and Audible audio dramas. Ooh. And plays a series regular in the Dark Shadows series. Alex also wrote an episode for Series 3, which is due for release later this year. Awesome. To find out more, please visit alexandradonnachie.com. The interview. Chat. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. So today we're here with Alexandra Donnachie. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Would you like to just... What have you been up to?
Well, as of late, so I have just, within the last week, I've sort of lost all concept of days, and obviously we had the bank holiday last weekend, but within the last week and a bit, have just stopped, I've come off, that made it sound like it had been stopped unexpectedly, but I've just finished the spring tour of my play. So as you say, I write and perform, and I wrote a play back in 2016.
Okay.
And then did a little bit with it in 2017, and then did a little bit more with it in 2018, and that's kind of where things picked up because it got longlisted for an award. And that is relevant. That isn't me just like, by the way.
An award,
did I mention? But through that, met a really, really brilliant director who's now a friend. And we developed this play for a few years, finally got it on at Vault Festival in 2020. Just before lockdown, so we finished our run at Vaults on the 15th of March 2020. So there wasn't much else to do with it that year, but then we kind of, through begging and kind of carrying on and just keeping up a bit of hope, I suppose, we managed to make a filmed version of it in 2021, and finally went off on tour about a month ago, and then we've just finished that. And now it's on a break for now, so kind of getting back to the real world. And
that was When We Died.
That was called When We Died.
Which I had the pleasure to see as well.
Did. Thank you.
I'll put a round of applause on after.
Yeah.
It's very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Skip on to socials now, really. What social media are on? Are you on them all?
Oh God, I am. I really am.
Be Real?
Oh no, I'm not on Be Real. Was that the one I'm not on?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
if you're not
that's
on it.
good.
Yeah.
Not on that one. Yes, okay, that's one I'm not on, because honestly, it's tragic. I am on Twitter, Instagram, still on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I don't know if that counts.
As an actor, is it important to be on LinkedIn?
Well,
I don't know.
I would have said absolutely
but
not.
But it is social media.
But now,
But it's a work-based social media, isn't it? So
which I think is part of me. I don't know, maybe it's my age. I kind of moved over to it, and I have found it. I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I found it interesting and a bit, a different kind of social media, which has been whether I still want to be on it and or any other platform is a whole other. Who knows?
Which one of those do you use for work purposes? Are there any that you don't or do?
Yeah, I'd say Twitter is the one. Obviously, LinkedIn is probably the most professional, but I don't post on that regularly, or even sort of scroll on it regularly. Whereas Twitter is probably the one that I do use them, and it's maybe not completely exclusively, but it's pretty much become like that's the sole purpose of me using it now, because it's just such a horrible place to be.
Would you say it is just a platform for work or publicising yourself?
Yeah, I think for me, I have to see it like that, because I think there's a lot of, I think especially when you write and perform, I think it does feel like at the minute, although there was a lot of talk certainly recently of people saying, oh, that's it, I'm jumping ship, I'm going. And I know a lot of people have, but from my experience, people do still use it for that. So I kind of feel like I have to think of it as a work tool. Obviously things slip in, you see a nice cat video, you like it, you retweet it, whatever. But even that I don't do anything, like the rate I used to. And even the things I engage with as well tend to just be more work-based. And that will be sort of where I get a lot of news. I mean, certainly not a rounded view of things necessarily, because I don't think Twitter's the place for nuance. I don't know if it's a hot new take. But yeah, I feel like I have to see it as like a work, and that's certainly what I use it for. This is an
overindulgent. So you always seem to be constantly busy, creating, working, writing, networking, which is the polar opposite of me at the moment. Does social media play a key part in all of the above?
Oh, it's so interesting, because I think, I do often think, do I look, is that the impression I'm giving because of social media? I am always busy. I don't think I'm, busier than who knows, there's somebody's always, I'm so sorry, I'm so busy. It's like, we're all busy. So it's a busy world. But I do think, I think it does play a huge part in it. I think probably plays a bigger part in it than I'd like. The kind of the good days, social media is really important for kind of keeping busy, networking, especially when you're looking for opportunities. If you have written something, right, okay, well, where can I send it? Who are the who are the producers working on work like this at the minute? Who are the artists that are working in this kind of field that would be really great to collaborate with? And a lot of the time Twitter is the first place I'll look. Also other social media platforms. But obviously the kind of the caveat of that is sometimes you can be busy, having a very productive day, go on social media to look for something like that would be useful. But then 3 hours later, you've just been scrolling and now you're looking at cat videos. And it's, or it's always cat videos, which is ridiculous, because I do watch an equal amount of dog videos as well. I would like that out there.
Just to state.
I'm a cat and dog person. But yeah, so I think it does play a big part. But actually, I think it's certainly once you've got the product, I think it doesn't necessarily have as much of an impact on how busy I am when I'm sort of still in the either writing or, putting something together. I think when it comes to fundraising or plugging the show when the show's ready, that's when social media is, I would say, unfortunately, because I think it is annoying that it has become this, but it does feel like the sole place that I go to for market. I just don't know how else. I don't know. I think I did hear once that Instagram was actually the best for plugging stuff, because it's an image, right? You put a photo up and people remember that.
It's a visual medium.
Yeah. So I can see that, and I do use that for that. But then I think in terms of reviews, once somebody's seen your show and if they like it, have tweeted a nice thing about it, obviously it's the last thing you want to do if it's not particularly complimentary. Not that I would know. But yeah, I think
it's really bad. You've got to retweet
you've
that.
Got to yes.
You've got to lean into it.
That
right?
Absolutely. I saw I saw one the other day, and for a new show that is it Dreamland, the one with Lily Allen in it?
Yes,
and I've not seen it, and
Sky, is it?
yeah. And I, for the record, I didn't read the review because I didn't want to, because I thought the headline was really, really mean. But I also haven't seen the show yet, and I think Liliana's great, and I've only heard good things apart from this article. But the headline was something like Lily Allen's acting is nothing to write home about, which is so nasty and unnecessary. But she had retweeted it and just said, "Oh, well, you can't win them all." And you're like, that's so great. Like, it's you have
to embrace
yeah
every kind of publicity.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll see that you are not one-sided. You are an actual human person.
Yes, exactly. 100%. So I think that is very easy for people to forget.
Hello. Now I have your attention. This is an edit.
So have you ever been cast via social media?
I think so, but I can't remember a specific...
It was all a dream.
It was, yeah. Well, this isn't most of my career. I think I've definitely applied for things via social media, and I feel like one of them was a go, but I was, having thought about it, I can't remember which job it was, but I've certainly applied for things that I've seen on social media. I've been... I don't know if I should say this, but I've been low-key, I don't know if it was just me, but sort of uncasted on something on social media where I read a really, one of those, the reason Twitter is what it is. I read a really kind of passive-aggressive tweet by a casting director. Actually, it was a director. I don't think it was a casting director. And they'd said, you put a call out on Spotlight one night, and the next morning you've got 100 emails to your inbox saying, can I be seen for this? And another director was like, oh my God, I know somebody found my address on the electoral roll one day and sent their CV to my house. And I was a bit like, it's not the same, but okay. But it really, that hurt me. Actually, I still think about it. That hurt me for weeks. I had such a kind of horrible reaction to that. And what it was is I had, nudged my agent on Spotlight. But, and as I say, there could have been, he did say there was hundreds of people that had done it. So I don't think it was just me. But that's what you're taught, right? You nudge your agent, but you write to people all the time. You do this, you do that, And it just felt like a real, it was just it was just nasty. It was so unnecessary. And there was no point to it, it was just like, what are you going to cast any of those 100 actors? Just so I know. So whether that's often had it's not, it's not the same. As I say, that wasn't, it was just finding out about that on social media. But I suppose the point was when I see things on social media that I think, well, I wouldn't mind that, I quite fancy that. I would never, I don't think I have ever, don't hold me to that, but I don't think I've ever sort of replied in the comments. Do you know what I mean? I'll kind of, if there's an email address or there's more information, I'll email my agent and say, could you possibly I don't know that I've ever applied for something directly on social media. I
mean, it's different if someone's just doing a shout out. But your, your headshot and your link into the comments and then share it or something. You might be invited for X, Y, and Z.
You might never hear from me again.
Yeah, you won't. You just weird.
Yeah, I'm going to put my money on
harvesting
that one.
Your data. Could you do your job without socials? Do you think?
Oh,
I know.
I think there is a way it can be done. I think at the minute I'm still very much on it because we've got a summer tour coming up of the play as well. So which just an extension of the spring tour. Obviously, it's the same show. I don't know that needed to
and
be
then
clarified.
an autumn tour, which is
guess
an
what?
extension of
Still,
the
it's just,
summer show.
It's like a sequel, or it's the same show, just different seasons. But I am aware, with that in mind, have no intention of coming off anything today. I have kept an eye on certainly Twitter more than others because I think I want to be able to sleep at night and not completely hate myself for what I'm, and I don't think it's, again, not a hot take. I don't love the guy that runs it now, and there's a lot going on there, and so I would rather not be on it. But I do think for plugging at the minute, I do feel like I do need it, but also to see people that are, occasionally you'll see agents or, literary agents, and they'll sort of say, oh, my books are open, who wants a coffee, or and things like that feel like, you could be, 1 in a million people that message them and say, oh my God, I want a coffee, will you sign me? But if you ever are that 1 in a million, you know, for me, that almost feels like, okay, maybe I should stay on it for now. And I also feel like I'm quite good at sort of, and if there's ever anything I'm sort of not sure about, or I don't like what people, like, I never like a tweet without checking who the person is. Even like a silly kind of, you know, a kind of light-hearted tweet, I won't like it without checking the profile. You know, are they a bot? Are they reasonably not? You know, did they vote for Trump? Like, you know, things that's not assumed. You know, but certainly, like, I agree. Yeah, you just don't want to do that and then find out like a month later, oh God, no, we're not okay with this. You know, exactly. So, and you know, Twitter, as I say, it's not the place for nuance. So obviously, even that is, you know, you can like a joke but not be okay with somebody's politics. But I think on Twitter we're not in a place yet where we can kind of, that's okay.
It won't ever be.
It won't. I don't know that it ever will. Exactly. You know, and there we come back round to, no, I don't really want to be on it anymore. But I think it's that. I think it's a lot harder without it. I guess it's not my only hope and dream, but I suppose in terms of, you know, career, I suppose when I think about where do I want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 minutes, it does feel like I kind of want to be in a position where I know that I've got such a good team around me, agents, managers, publicists, all of these things, you know, in terms of whatever that is, that I can be off it and still work. Because some of my, you know, favourite actors that are working in theatre, you know, not and are happy with that. That's, you know, I don't feel like I need, you know, well, I know I don't need sort of fame and, you know, all of that. I just want to be happy and working, living off work. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, working in theatre is really like, is my dream. And I think, you know, always has been, and I'm still going at it. And I think, as I say, so for me, it feels like I just want a team around me that are supportive enough and helping me do that enough that I don't feel like I need to be on it and pushing work. I suppose it is about navigating it in a healthy manner. Yes. Basically, and making it work for you, and keeping a nice algorithm with it, you know. And going back to and checking it, you know, because it changes, right? You know, your mental health is it fluctuates. So I think it's just kind of checking in every now and again.
Well, this is a nice chitter-chatter. Oh, yes. Do go on. On that, I suppose, on that note, we talk about mental health. How do you look after your mental health as an actor, and what does social media play in that? You know, what part does it play? It's amazing how much better my mental health is when I'm not on it. It is amazing. I will take sort of detoxes every now and again, because I am that person who I'm absolutely, you know, I don't need it. So just my dog is here. Edward is back, and that's what the groaning is. It isn't my stomach, although I am hungry. He's just getting comfy into a little like furry croissant. Yeah, it's at the very moment. Cute. It's not just him going, well, maybe it is him just, she's still talking. No, I think it's like, no, if it's your mental health, you need to just stroke me and you'll feel better. Oh my God, you are like an emotional support dog. But it is, as a self-employed actor, performer, writer, it's I was going to say struggle. I think it can be a struggle, but it's a plod forward, and so there's a couple of steps back. Mental health gets a kick in. Oh my God! I heard a statistic yesterday that I'd never heard before, and I sort of hated myself for being pleased with it, because it was somebody who's an actor. It was at her podcast actually, and she had said that she had heard or read, you know, and all of these are, you know, she said, he said, but they were saying that the dropout rate of actors is most commonly first year, third year in the industry, or year 7. And I genuinely thought, I'm working out right now. You're part. That's it. I'm happy with that. That's it. And I did exactly the same. I thought, because I'll be about 11 years, sort of professionally this year, and genuinely felt myself kind of go, okay, good, as if I'd been validated by this, like completely. Oh no, I don't know. It can't be Siri because I don't have an Apple Watch, so that wouldn't be it. But there we go. I didn't even know that did that. I just, it is incredible that, you know, suddenly things that validate us and the things that make us feel like, you know, you're doing it right, you're doing okay. And I think actually when I'm away from all of that and I'm not on social media for a bit, whether it is because, so for example, if I've been plugging the show pretty heavily and I've not been, so I've been on it quite constantly, when the tour kind of takes a pause, I come away from it for a couple of days because I can. And I'm fine. When I go back onto it, I am that typical person who suddenly I'm like, you know, you're on the loo scrolling and you're like, why are you doing this? Like, read a book, you weirdo. Almost to the point where I can't poo without it.
It's affecting my gut, not just my mental.
Or you pick up your phone and you need a poo, and you're like, oh my
God. Pavlov's Twitter. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't even hear about him.
Yes, sorry. No, he's woken up now. He's like, you filth.
Mentioned Pavlov, the bloody dog.
Oh, look. But I think it is. It's a real. I think it has to be, and you've said it, managed. I think it's you. The thing that sometimes helped me when I do think, oh, I'm getting a little bit too kind of not signing out of accounts. Suddenly I'm like, oh, that's a sign, because generally I'm quite good at, once I've had a session, I log out. Yeah. Because actually, when I then go back on it, I have that half a second to think, do you really want to go on it? Mm-hmm. How are you doing? How's your day today? Are you in a good mood? I'd stay off it if I were you. And so that helps. So if I haven't logged out whenever, I'm thinking, oh, that means you need to log out because you're gagging for it, for a scroll. So that's a thing I'm aware of. But I think I've tried to do the thing where I go on with a purpose. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I've got something to post, or I want to see what that person that said last week that they were looking for new scripts or new script proposals. I want to go on and see what they said, or whether there was an email address. So I will log in, do that, and then come off. Or, save up 3 or 4 things I want to look for a day. And it seems ridiculous, but I think doing that probably saves so much time that could be better spent writing the script proposal, or writing the, I think this is so pretentious.
Go on.
But there's a quote which blew my mind, and it I guess, for a lot of people probably is extra like, oh God, because it was Chadwick Boseman. Mm-hmm. And he said, I think it was at the time he did that really amazing speech at Howard University when he went back, when they opened the centre. And he said, take your time, but don't waste it. And that's, normally I'm one of those people, I hear a quote or I see one on Instagram, like, lovely, and then I forget about it. But I've never forgotten about that, because I just think that I don't think for a second he was talking about social media when he said that. But it is kind of what, amongst other things, it does kind of, I think about it whenever I'm on social media, because I think that's the perfect example of, if you're on there, be on there for a reason, right? Do it with intention, like anything. Have a reason for doing that, for being there, finding out the thing you want to find out, and then go out and, look at the sky. It's just, call a friend, whatever. I think it, so as I said, I don't mean to kind of cheapen that as a quote, because it isn't. That's not
take your time, as it says, take your time,
but don't waste
your time. That's the thing, because the social media is, it's a work tool, but at the same time, it's a place to procrastinate. So it is a place to waste time as well.
Yes.
So, like you said, using it as a work tool, and going on it when you're working rather than when you're feeling down or need a poo.
Do it. Yeah.
Is the way forward, I suppose. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think seeing it as, if we are going to say, right, well, if we've got to keep it, we feel we need to keep it for work, knuckle down and use it for work, as you say. I would never go on LinkedIn for fun.
We're nearly finished.
Nearly there. You're okay. But I think it does feel like, for some reason, because I think our industry in particular, most of our friends, when you work in this industry, are also people that work in the industry. So of course there's always that thing, well, if you go on Instagram or you go on Twitter, most of the people on there are interesting work people, but actually they're also a friend or a friend of a friend. And so obviously there's that. But if you like them that much, oh my God, text them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to, you have to question how good a friend of somebody you are if actually you only communicate by liking their picture on Instagram once a month, and
that's it. I think if I ever go back on, I will just use it as a work tool.
Do you think you ever will go back on with that in mind, or just
I think if I do, that is exactly what I'll do. I'm not averse to go back on at all, but I feel like I'm not ready to start my I don't know what my new algorithm will be. My new rhythm, my new song. Like I came off of it because the song got too muddy. It was like freeform jazz. Now I just want it to be clear and concise and work for me.
Which is what it has to be. I think it's it's so important. I think especially post COVID. I mean, who can have a conversation without bringing that up? But I think what was that? COVID? I don't remember that. But
I never use the word furlough anymore.
No, that's true, actually. No, good point. Before or after. Before or since. But I do think there was an element as well, again, especially for our industry. I'm sure it was other industries, but our one was so like, oh, everything's going to be so much better after COVID. And that has proven to be so untrue. If anything, most things have got worse. She laughed. But I think with that in mind, like there's that kind of, it makes it almost more toxic as well. So I think I feel like I've been more aware of, we were always aware of it, but I do think my kind of weird obsession, or like, not with social media, but my obsession with the relationship with social media, and like, oh God, what does this mean? I've been on it for this long, but have I used it properly? Has intensified since COVID, because, you know, it's such a negative space now, but then also you're like, well, at least if it's somebody saying the negative thing that you were thinking, it's nice to feel that you're with somebody, and that's it, you know, and it's a really tricky, it kind of needs to be managed more than ever.
It's same. It's weird, crap analogy coming up. It's like leaving the house. You leave the house with a purpose. You don't really go leaving the house just to kind of aimlessly wander and listen to people arguing over there, or not picking up a dog poo, you know. So you go onto social media for a purpose and leave.
So get out without staging.
Get out quickly.
Go. Be the cool person that like arrives at the party, but then they leave before everybody else. Like,
don't bring a guitar.
No, don't bring a guitar. Don't come to be validated. Stay for one drink and then go.
It's a sneaky edit. 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 It's a sneaky edit to cover shit.
Yes, we're having a jolly good time.
So, do you have... I don't know what that was. Do you have a best and a worst thing about social media?
Oh,
as in, I would like a best and a worst thing.
Is that what you want?
Yeah,
okay, well,
yours.
in that case...
I would like one now, please.
I think, and they're probably, I probably a wee bit predictable. I think worst thing is probably the thing of just the impact it can have on mental health, the kind of comparisons you make to other people, which for some reason only seems to, speaking for myself personally, be when it comes to work. You know, if somebody sort of says, oh, I'm engaged, I've got 7 babies, you know, that's like, oh, that's lovely, I'm really happy for you. As soon as they're like, oh, I met this casting director that, you know, I've emailed 70 times and they've never replied to me. You're like, why? I wanna, you know, and it's you know, and it will be for a job that, like, you know, well, I would never have gone up for, you know, or whatever. So, I hate that about it, and I hate that we don't talk about it as well. I think a lot of people are very, you know, we all kind of keep it to ourselves, but it's a horrible industry. We all feel on top of the world one minute, and then at the sort of rock bottom the next. We should all support each other in that, and we don't. So I would say that's probably the worst thing about social media. We have this tool and we don't use it for good, I think, and it just makes us all feel a bit shit sometimes. But
so you're probably catching this. Ed is licking. He's
not me.
Cleaning at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you get some weird sounds, it's the dog. Go on.
That's how engaging I am as a speaker. A dog would rather lick his own backside than listen.
He's scrub. It's like, well, I wouldn't. I would like to listen to what you have to say about good things on social media.
We weren't watching, don't worry.
But yeah,
the good thing is the cat and dog videos.
Absolutely.
But I think also the rare occasions it can bring up relationships, or you know, begin sort of networking opportunities. You can meet people that, you know, that you can start sort of collaborative relationships with. And I don't think it's sort of a daily occurrence, but I have met people that I knew a wee bit about because of social media, and then think, oh, you've done that, haven't you? And I think generally people quite like that. You know, like if I meet somebody and they say, oh, are you that person that did this or worked with that person? Like, that makes me feel amazing. And I don't think I'd have that as much without social media. And I hope that it makes other people amazing. I'm like, oh, you worked on that thing, didn't you? And it, I think it, and I love it when you see via social media the small worldness as well. When you know, you follow a friend and suddenly someone else has liked or commented on something they've written. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know you two knew each other. And I think that's really lovely. So I think the kind of, the relationships it can, and opportunities, you know, whether it's jobs or, you know, no jobs, that it can open up.
Bring to life.
I think is is the good thing. That it just makes me not know how to quit it.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, so just to sum up then, what does social media mean to you? Could you sum it up as an actor? Could you sum it up in 5 words?
Okay. As an actor, I think necessary and unnecessary. Opportunities / opportunistic. Potential. And a network.
Okay. I'll take that.
Are they alright? I don't know. I feel like I could have.
It's what's off top of your dome.
Edward walked away from me when I said them.
I was just because you were to say it, start to slow it down. It's like she's been creepy now. She's saying it really slowly.
It's really slowly. Yeah, yeah. Just have to edit little tiny gaps in between. Oh,
that's his
okay.
ears.
We're done. We're finished. Okay.
No, but that was great. That was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall we say goodbye?
Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So thank you for listening. If you made it this far, I'd just like to say one thing. Could you please subscribe? It will help with any other episodes that I make, and it shows a lot of love. And we need a lot of love in the world. Sing it. No, I didn't mean actually. No. Stop. No, I said. No. Shh. Thank you. Stop. Why does it sound like an intro to something? No, we're ending the podcast. No, this is the end. The end. Stop. Stop the music. Just the bass. Thank you.